I know this heavy silence hurts, but you can't see the roots of your faith reaching down deeper. It is digging deeper than anything your eyes can track. You worry that I am moving too slow to save you, but you don't see the heavy mountains I quietly slide out of your way. Don't write me off as gone just yet. Sometimes I step back so you learn to find your own footing, not to watch you crash. Remember Elijah? He ran straight into the barren desert, so broken and spent, he cried out, "Lord, I am done. Just take my life." He felt the quiet, convinced my delay meant I had completely walked away from him. Yet I didn't lecture him. I sent an angel to shake his shoulder and say, "Eat something. You still have a long road ahead." No blinding flash, no shaking ground, just a simple meal in the dirt. But out of that quiet stillness, Elijah found the grit to keep walking. And it is the same for you. On those days when the skies seem completely empty, I am weaving a silent, steel-like resolve inside your chest. It will carry you through dry valleys you swore would kill you. Sometimes you don't need a crowd screaming your name. You just need a tiny spark to know you aren't forgotten. But as the clock ticks on, the quiet thickens until it feels like it is choking you. In that heavy dark, you assume I have turned my back on you. But really, I have put you in a hidden fire. In that heat, the quiet turns into a mirror, showing the fractures in your soul you usually ignore. This isn't torture. I am repairing you in the dark, where the world's noise cannot reach. You look back and only see a trail of wrecked plans, dead-end roads, and unanswered cries. Heavy doors remain locked tight. You whisper to the dark that I am far too late. But in the stalling, I am steadying your frantic heart rate. You watch the hours bleed away, terrified of the ticking clock. I see a soul getting tempered to carry a weight you can't even fathom yet. Then there are days when the ache hits so hard that your mind starts to scream, "Is this my punishment?" But you don't see that what feels like a brutal loss is actually my hand dragging you back from a pitch-black cliff edge. This hurt isn't meant to break your pride. It is to force your fingers open, releasing the heavy things that are slowly poisoning you. My quietness, my slow pacing, every bit of it is a calculated shield, keeping you safe from the wreckage you aren't sharp enough to spot yet. You assume these cold, quiet skies mean I have abandoned you to bleed out in the dark, alone, with fears you can't even name. But when you are shivering in that terrifying silence, I am leaning in, catching every choked breath you try to mask with a forced smile. I hear the silent screams. I see the tears you brush off your cheek when the room is empty. But still, because I don't answer instantly, you think I have stopped caring. Listen closely. My quiet is not a locked door. It is a quiet sanctuary where I can stitch up the raw wounds you are too afraid to touch. Just breathe, and you will feel that this quiet isn't distance. It is just my arms holding you tight, without waking your fears. I let the heavy stillness linger, because some broken things cannot be mended when the world is screaming all around you. You beg for a loud sign, but I want you to feel the steady pulse in your chest, where I have always lived, never moving an inch away. You call me late, but I am quietly tempering your soul with absolute raw gentleness. I don't want a faith that only works when you get what you want. Trust me, even when the cold world says you are forgotten. True grit isn't forged when every prayer gets an instant green light. It is built when you grip my hand in the absolute dark. That is when you stretch like a green sprout searching for water, digging roots toward the deep springs. I know you stare at the ceiling at midnight and ask, "Do you even see me?" I have never blinked. I haven't looked away from you for a single fraction of a second. You call this silence a no. I see it as a cocoon, protecting a soul ready to break out. Sometimes I stay quiet, so you stop chasing loud answers and start finding me in the grit of your ordinary, messy days, hidden in the quiet corners you ignore. This silence is not a penalty. I am healing you at a speed your heart can take. One day you will look back and realize I carried you through the moments you thought were nothing. I see that quiet doubt gnawing at you, making you feel completely unworthy of my notice. You feel too dirty, too broken, too far gone for me to ever step into your mess. But I don't see you with human eyes. I look at you as your creator, the one who knew your name before you drew breath. I never scream the accusations you whisper to yourself at night. I have never graded you on success or failure. I only care about the heart that keeps fighting, even when it is beaten and scarred. When the quiet drags you into dark self-blame, you forget that I am your father, not a cold prosecutor. I do not want perfection. I just want my exhausted kid back home. So when the sky feels like brass and silence screams, do not back away, thinking I have left. Look past the heavy quiet. Peer beneath the dust and see that I am working in the dark shadows you cannot see. Do not run when isolation hits. That is exactly when I want to hear you scream my name. In total honesty, even if you only whisper, God, I am totally broken. You do not need a brave face to stand here. Just show up raw. From that bleeding honesty, I will pull you from the thick fog choking your soul. You will see that feeling abandoned is just a cheap shadow cast by fear, not my real stance toward you. Step through that dark valley, and your whole life, time, and opportunities will transform. You stare at your past and obsess over why every single thing feels so late, like you missed the last train out. You watch others sprint while you are stuck in slow motion, assuming I picked them over you. But listen to me closely. I have never compared your speed to theirs. I designed your soul with its own unique heartbeat, its own winding road, handcrafted so you do not crush the fire I put inside you. But when you obsess over their lives, you miss my hands rebuilding your broken road. The clock is screaming at you to run, but I am holding you back to keep you from rushing into a wall that would shatter your spirit. I know you wake up some mornings already feeling defeated, left behind in the dust, convinced you can never catch the crowd. You stare at the calendar, at the missed chances slipping through your fingers, and you whisper, it is too late. But I do not run on your human clock. I do not panic when you are rushing, nor do I sweat when you are in a panic. I operate in the quiet, raw depths of your soul, where time is no longer a heavy chain or a cage. You think those empty, quiet years were just a total waste, but they were silently hammering out raw grit, deep perseverance, and quiet faith, the kind of strength overnight success can never build. When you feel like you are pacing in circles, you are actually walking the exact trail I cleared for you. I see you collapse on your knees, chest heavy, because you feel like your life is stuck in place, beating yourself up more than you question me. You wonder if I am still writing your story, or if the book has closed for good. Trust me, I never tear up the future I started. No locked door can stop what I have written. I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future of hope from start to finish. This dragging pace is actually protecting you, keeping you safe from holding weight you are not strong enough to lift yet. Just because you are not finished does not mean you failed. It just means you are deep in the quiet machinery of my perfect timing. I see that bad habit eating away at your soul, how you measure your life against theirs. You see them fly while you crawl inch by inch. So you tell yourself you are losing the race. But comparing yourself blinds you to what I am rebuilding in your chest. When you stare at their trophies, you miss the quiet seeds I plant in your soil every morning. The fact that they have not yet broken the soil does not mean they are dead. They just need the right weather, the perfect sun, the exact hour I set. Force them to open in someone else's season, and you will snap the fragile stems of your own life before they can tell the beautiful story I am writing. So when panic grips your chest because the years are flying, take a slow breath. Just look at me instead of the frantic rush out there. You are not late. I am holding you close so that when the lock turns, you can step through with a soul strong enough, deep, and solid enough to hold the weight of what I put in your hands. I will not hand you gifts too soon before you grow roots. Shallow roots make you fall fast. Let me guide you with the raw heartbeat of heaven, never off by a single second. You will see what you called too late was actually my perfect design. Like and subscribe to join our faith community today. I'm quietly preparing things you never felt worthy to hold. Once you stop obsessing over the clock, you'll start seeing every trip, every delay, and every locked door in a whole new light. You won't jump to the conclusion that I'm holding out on you. Instead, you'll see I'm just keeping you away from stuff that was never yours to begin with. In that moment, your chest will finally loosen. You'll see I'm clearing a path through the wilderness, making a way where you can't see yet. Once you trust me in the heavy waiting, you'll learn to trust me when things fall apart, when plans shift, and through what you call pain. And that becomes the exact doorway to a much deeper truth. Pain is not always a punishment. Most of the time, it's just a shield I'm silently sliding in front of you. Some days you stare at the wreckage in front of you and whisper, "God must be punishing me." Disappointment hits fast. Joy feels like it's running late. Opportunities slip through your fingers, and relationships that once felt solid start to fracture. And you quietly tell yourself, maybe God is done with me. But listen to me. I don't use pain to get even or grind you into the dirt. I use it as a mirror to show you exactly what's dragging your soul down. The heavy things you've been too terrified to look at. If you just step closer, you'll see that what feels so unfair is actually the exact armor I quietly custom-made for you. When a door slams shut, I watch you hang your head. You blame yourself, you blame life, and then you blame me. You don't realize that sometimes I'm the one leaning my weight against that door, locking it before it has a chance to crush you. There were people you swore were perfect for you, but I saw the wreckage they'd leave in your life long before they did. There were places you desperately wanted to enter, but I knew you'd lose your soul in there. So, I had to block your path even when you wept, because you couldn't understand. You only see the empty space of what you lost. I see that I'm rescuing you from a scar you could never heal on your own. Down the road, you'll thank me when the noise clears enough to realize that. What I hold back is nothing compared to what I'm building for you. Sometimes I use delays to shield you from traps you can't even see, like when you cursed the traffic or fumed over missing that meeting you thought was your big break. You felt defeated, angry, beating yourself up for slipping up. But you never knew that those exact moments of friction kept you miles away from a disaster I refused to let touch you. I don't need a flashy miracle to keep you safe. Sometimes a simple 5-minute delay completely rewrites your destiny. If you could zoom out and look at the bigger picture, you'd see that behind every late arrival and disrupted plan, every single missed chance, there is a blueprint I'm silently laying down for you. I don't shout when I save you. I just step in, then watch you walk safely down the road. But I know how you operate. You project the faces of those who hurt you onto me. When someone drops you, you assume I'll let you fall too. When they pack up and leave, you expect me to abandon you too. And when it hurts, you instantly think I'm out to punish you. Listen to me. I am not them. I didn't come to break you. I came to pull you out of messes you don't even comprehend yet. If my goal was punishment, I would have just stood by and let you drown in your own mistakes. But I didn't. I drag you back even when you fight me, because I see the edge of the cliff. I love you, not because you earned it, but because you're mine. And since you are mine, I won't let this pain wreck your life. When your chest is aching, I don't expect you to play strong. Just sit with me and tell me how much it hurts. Bring me the terror, the rage, the disappointment. Your anger doesn't scare me. It only breaks my heart when you shut me out and carry it alone. Let me into those locked rooms inside you, the messy places you hide because you think they're too ugly to love. Right there, I'll show you that pain is just the dirt being torn up so I can plant something fresh. When you let me walk this road with you, you'll see this pain isn't a dead end. It's just a pause before the next chapter. With that truth, you'll shake off the lie that I'm out to get you and finally see that I am guiding you toward a deep goodness you never even dared to hope for. Once you stop questioning whether I actually love you, you'll start seeing the pieces fall into place in a brand new way. Losses won't feel like endings anymore, but just empty ground prepared for fresh growth. You'll see those sudden sharp turns aren't frustrating detours, but precise maneuvers to steer you clear of a cliff. And you'll realize I'm nowhere near as distant as you feared. I'm right there beside you, walking through it all. Subscribe now, and let's build this faith community together. Once you truly face the raw weight of your pain, you will see it clearly. Not just how you misunderstood suffering, but how you have also misjudged your own soul. That realization is the bridge to a deeper truth. You are no broken byproduct of your past. You are raw clay, being molded by a patient, silent potter. I know there are days you look back and see only jagged, unhealed scars. You replay the bad choices, the betrayed trust, the sudden falls that still sting with a cold, heavy shame every single time. And you decide you deserve the wreckage. As if your stumbles could ever make you worthless in my eyes, stripping away your value. But my child, I have never once looked at you through the harsh, condemning lens you use on yourself. You see a pile of broken, useless fragments. I see a soul ready to be made whole. I am not here to accuse you. I am standing right beside you, pulling you away from the cruel noise looping in your mind. If you would just quiet down, you would hear it. My voice is infinitely gentler than the heavy judgment you carry. Whenever you beat yourself up over the wreckage of your past, I see you standing before a cracked, dusty mirror, staring at a distorted version of yourself, completely blind to the fact that the glass needs replacing, not your heart. Yet you keep whispering, I deserve this, over and over. And that lie only builds a wall between you and the healing I offer. You assume I keep a tally of your failures, but I have cast them so far away that you are the only one left holding the ghost of them. You wear labels I never gave you: foolish, weak, worthless, getting what you deserve. Those cutting words do not come from me. They are born from your fear of hurting again, using yesterday like a heavy chain to lock yourself away, while I am waiting to break those links so you can walk into a life shaped by my hands. Just let go of your grip, and let me show you how you look through my eyes. seem as a beloved child, never as a criminal before a judge. Remember what Isaiah 64 verse 8 says, "You are the clay, and I am your potter." Nobody stares at raw, unformed clay and calls it garbage. They trust the steady hands that are working it. You are not a finished piece yet. You are right in the thick of the process, which always means being squeezed, refolded, and stretched, sometimes even broken down, to be remade stronger. You thought the violent shaking of your life was my anger, but it is actually how I realigned the broken edges that drifted far from what I designed you to be. You are not left to burn in the fire. You are in the heat so you can cure and become unbreakable. The clay cannot shape itself. It must submit to the pressure, the spinning, the grinding friction, and the pain that ultimately reveals its true, breathtaking beauty. If you just let me do the work, you will realize you are not shattered beyond hope. You are only being reconstructed piece by piece. I know you are completely exhausted from pretending everything is okay, from running on the hamster wheel of performance to hide your deepest fears. You chase the approval of strangers, begging for a nod of validation that you hope will finally numb the ache. But my child, human praise cannot heal your wounds. It only drains you until there is nothing left. I do not wait for you to pull yourself together before I show up. As Scripture says, my grace is enough, and my strength is perfected in your weakness. Stop trying to carry this alone and play the hero, because I love you when you are completely spent, fragile, and lost in the dark. Drop the crushing weight of having to prove to the world that you are worth something, because when you hold on to the right to condemn yourself, you slam the door on the only hand that can rebuild you. Mine. So bring me the things you try so hard to hide, the ugly mistakes, the regrets, the pieces of your shattered heart, your silent anger, your paralyzing shame, and your terror of rejection. None of this shocks me. I saw every single stumble long before it happened, and chose to love you anyway. Stop hiding behind the armor of your own self-hatred. Let me wash away the grime from your vision, so you can finally see that your mistakes do not get the final word on who you are. You are a fresh page I am still writing, not scrap paper to be thrown away. Once you feel your true value in my hands, the suffocating weight will lift, and your feet will find solid ground. From that place, you will understand why I never wanted you to just limp through life. I want you to stand up, not just to survive, but to be walking, breathing proof that redemption is real and happening right now. And down the road, when the voices of your past lose their grip on your soul, you will feel a pull towards something far bigger than survival. You will realize your life is not just a grueling test of getting through the next 24 hours, but a mission to reach people who are drowning. The exact pain that nearly destroyed you will become the key that unlocks freedom for someone else who is lost in the dark. I restored you to help heal others. If this touched you, like and subscribe to build our faith community here. I am rebuilding you to reflect my light so others can find me through your raw healing. Once you see that you can step forward into the unknown, no longer just scraping by, but bringing hope to whatever dark corner I send you. There are nights when, after taking hit after hit, you only have the breath to say one thing. Just give me some quiet, please. That is all. And I hear you. I get it. I see how exhausted you are. Too tired to even hope anymore. But if you spend your life just trying to dodge the pain, just trying to survive until morning, you are settling for far less than the strength I put in you. I did not pull you out of the dark just for you to hide, lock your heart up, and fear the world. I broke your chains so you could stand tall, turning those shameful scars into proof that healing is real for anyone watching. If you only seek comfort for yourself and forget that I want to use your story to save someone else, your inner fire will turn to ash because it has nowhere to go. I know you think you are just ordinary, that just getting through the day is the best you can hope for, asking for nothing more. You look at people making a difference and think, I could never do that. So you pull back into your shell. But listen, I do not measure potential by human standards. I do not recruit the flawless. I look for the broken, the dry souls, and know exactly what the bottom feels like. So when I lift them up, they know the raw weight of grace. You tell me you have nothing left, but I see a rare treasure forged in the very dark you thought was wasted. All I need is for you to dare to place that tiny broken offering into my hands. I will take it, bless it, and pour it out to heal more lives than you could ever dream of. This fight you are in is not just about rent-lonely nights or broken trust like you think. There is a deeper war raging. You carry a heavy purpose, and the darkness is terrified that you will finally wake up to it. You think you are just trying to make it to sunset, but we both know, the enemy and I, that you were built for so much more. When you were on the edge of quitting, that voice telling you that you do not matter, that is not my voice. That is the lie trying to make you forget your mission, keeping you hiding like a ghost in your own life. I did not design you to fade into the background. I made you so that my light inside you, even if it is just a flicker, can guide someone else back from the edge. When I lift you up, it is not so you can boast about making it. I am giving you new rooms to walk into new connections, new doors opening so that everyone can see my raw fingerprints on your life. Do not show off your own trophies. Speak instead about the one who walked you through those pitch-black nights when all human hope seemed dead. Those jagged wounds in your heart, those dried tears, do not hide them. They are living proof that you walked through the furnace and did not burn because I was inside with you. When you share how weak you were, I will use your raw vulnerability to pull up someone who is drowning exactly where you used to be. You do not need a perfect speech. Just show them your real, unfiltered life. That is your testimony. So, my child, do not just beg for comfort, gripping every gift tightly in your fists like you are terrified to let go, as if they will vanish tomorrow. True grace only grows when you let it spill over to help the next person. Clinging to it only breeds the fear of loss instead of the absolute joy of giving. I need you to leave that survival mode behind and start asking me, Lord, where do you need me to go today? That single question shifts your entire perspective. No more just killing time. Now every single morning becomes our shared chance to build things that actually last. When you live with that grit, you will see that every agonizing delay and every fire you blamed me for was never wasted. It was all collected and woven into a raw story only you can tell. Whenever you speak it, people will know this is not lucky coincidence. This is the undeniable mark of God on a soul that was brave enough to say yes. The world wants you to mask your pain, to act strong, successful, and totally in control, as if showing one crack means you will be tossed aside. But I do not see you through that cold lens. I know you when you are on top of the world, and on those silent nights when you are staring blankly at a wall. I see you on mornings when you cannot face the day because your chest is crushed by sorrow, while the world only demands your highlight reels. I listen to the quiet, heavy sighs you think nobody else wants to hear. When people lose their patience with you, repeating the same old pain, I am still sitting right here beside you, watching over you, with eyes that never grow weary. Sometimes you sit in the dark, thinking you arrived too late. You feel like you burned your best years on bad relationships, dead-end goals and illusions that now just taste like ash. You feel completely broken inside, convinced you threw away every single second I handed you. But when I look down at you, I don't just see the wreckage. I see a bruised heart that still stubbornly beats, a tired soul that wanted to quit, yet somehow survived to see this morning. You still have enough grit to breathe, to keep breathing, and to whisper my name. Standing tall after hitting the concrete so many times holds a raw beauty that beats any empty trophy or status the world screams about. Awards, paper degrees, and fake praise will rot. But someone who crawls out of the dirt, who comes home after getting lost, that is a real hard-fought victory, far greater than some perfect life that never scraped its knees. You're still here. You still call me Lord. You still claim me as Father, even when dragging the heavy shame of your deepest scars. That moves my heart more than you will ever know. I don't want you using everything you haven't achieved yet as a weapon to condemn yourself day after day, acting like a merciless prosecutor, constantly demanding you be flawless right this second. You don't have to plead your case in a courtroom. Quit trying to prove you deserve a second chance. I already know the whole story. I'm not holding a stopwatch measuring how many years you've fallen behind, how many steps you missed, how many breaks slipped away. You are just you, not some cheap photocopy. The path I'm carving for you isn't copied from someone else. Every single child I form walks to a unique beat. If you keep sprinting to match someone else's stride, you'll collapse in the dirt long before you reach my promise. I understand why you keep measuring yourself against them. You're terrified of being forgotten, scared that if you aren't as fast as they are, you'll get left behind. But in my house, nobody is extra. Nobody gets the scraps. No one is too late to receive their share. Those dark lies don't come from me. They come from fear, from the loud world that screams, you have to prove your worth with speed and quick results, with rank. I don't look at you like that. I see you with a father's eyes, tracking every step you've taken since you first learned to walk. I know the seasons you laughed and the long nights you cried. Every single time you pushed through exhaustion, not even realizing how much of yourself you were bleeding out. Every promise I wrote for your life has its own appointed hour. Just like the heavy timber in the forest, some seeds shoot up fast. Others take their time, breaking the soil in days. But other seeds must remain buried in the cold, dark mud for a long time before they rise as an unbreakable, towering oak. You crave the fast fix, the lightning-fast miracles. You want doors kicked wide open so you don't have to wait in the cold, so you don't have to feel lost or choke on the question, why haven't I gotten mine? But I don't run on your panic. I move with sovereign wisdom. I see the entire horizon while you are only staring at a single brick wall. Some things I purposely keep out of your hands for now, not because I enjoy watching you struggle in the dirt, but because I know that if I handed them to you, when your heart was still shallow, your foundations shaking, and your faith not yet anchored in the bedrock, then that beautiful gift would crush your spine. I don't want my blessings to turn into your iron chains. I refuse to let grace become the very thing that drags you away from my side or twists your true soul. I would rather slow this down to excavate your foundations deeper, to teach you to hear me in the dead silence, to train you to stand steady in the fog, rather than giving you something you crave that would ultimately rot your inner soul. You sit there thinking these brutal years yielded absolutely nothing but waste, that you bled your youth away on stupid mistakes and dead-end toxic relationships. I will restore the years the locusts have eaten. Your wasted youth is not lost. You look back and see only a chain of waste. But I see those dark years as a hidden workshop where I hammered you out. I used those boring empty days to soften your hard edges, where you were too stubborn, to make you feel the pain of others and to shatter the hidden arrogance that would have ruined you if you had won too fast. I used the raw cuts in your broken relationships to teach you the difference between true love and cold exploitation. So next time you'll spot the real worth of people who actually cherish you. I used the thankless jobs, the quiet, gritty years that nobody else noticed to build raw endurance, to teach you to work for my eyes rather than chasing fake human applause. No season is wasted. Join our faith community by subscribing and liking this video. Let us walk this healing path together. I do not mock you when you do not understand. I just wait for the storm to clear so I can walk you through it all again, right along the exact tracks you thought were just aimless wandering. Today, even if you feel like absolute zero right now, stop. Look at this one brutal, beautiful truth. You are still breathing. You are still here. You are alive. You still feel. You can still believe even if your hands are shaking while you do it. You have lost count of the times you wanted to quit, yet you never fully let go of the rope, because deep down there is still a thin thread tying you to me. And honestly, it is that fragile little thread that I love most. It tells me you haven't locked your heart to me. You still long for something far bigger than a life of just scraping by. Don't look down on the fact that you still show up, still read, still listen, and still talk to me. That is the proof of a soul refusing to let the dark swallow it whole. Look, I don't expect you to be a hero by tomorrow morning. I just want you to give me a chance, day after day, to chip away at the hard parts of your heart. And let me tell you, you are not the first person to believe it's too late, or that all hope is completely gone. People I love with all my heart have spent years in their own dry deserts, choking on what felt like my total silence, when in truth I was writing the heaviest, most beautiful chapters of their lives. You keep asking, if that is true, when is it my turn? When do I see what you promised? I do not judge you for asking that, because I know that question is born from standing on the sidelines, watching everyone else grab the blessings you have been crying out for. But I need you to know that in my world, no one can steal your turn. What I have hand-picked and set aside for you, nobody else can ever touch. And what I have built for others is theirs. Every single soul has a path carved out just for them, and the moment for that gift to show up is also hand-picked. Just because you watch other people cross the finish line first doesn't mean I left you to rot at the start. Sometimes I keep you waiting at the beginning on purpose, to teach you lessons they don't even need, because you are going to walk through fires that others will never face. So stop asking, when is it my turn? I want you to start crying out, Lord, what are you trying to teach me in this mess? Once you shift your focus, the anxiety fades, and you will finally realize, I have never been standing still. I am working behind the scenes, shaping your soul, and moving pieces in the dark. So when you finally step into your moment, everything will fall right into place. You aren't lost in some dusty corner of the universe, and I didn't shove you to the back of the line just to forget your name. I see you. I remember every single scar, every quiet teardrop others missed. You might think those old dreams are dead and buried, but I still hold them close, whispering life back into them. I am just waiting for the day you are ready to reach out without fearing the fall. I remember the words you cried out to me years ago, right before you got tired, and just stopped asking. But I never let them go. I kept them safe, like seeds waiting for the right ground to plant them back into your story. Right now, even in the dark, things are moving behind the scenes. I am breathing heat back into the ashes, waking up the good desires you once choked out because you were terrified of getting hurt again. My touch is reaching your deepest, driest wounds, making you realize you are done with just surviving. You are no longer willing to settle for a life that is nothing but holding your breath. And that ache is proof that my breath is still in you. Not to scare you, but to show you I am still writing your story. You might not have the words for this shift yet. All you know is that itch of restlessness when you try to live like before. That quiet nagging pain whenever you try to settle for what you know is wrong. A silent ache for something deeper that you can't even describe. Don't choke that feeling out. It isn't you losing your mind. That is just me knocking on your door. I'm calling you to step out of a survival mode that only begs for safety. A life that just wants to be left alone crying out, "Please, just stop the bleeding." Instead, I want you to step up and dare to ask me, "Lord, break me if you must, but make me yours. Let my scars heal someone else." Look, I am not asking you to fix the whole world today. Just start with the tiny things right in front of your face. A kind word, a soft look, finally forgiving the person you swore you never could. Every tiny step you take with me echoes forever. And honestly, that is exactly how you find out who you are. I didn't keep you alive through all this hell just so you could punch a clock, just to pay bills and disappear like you were never even here. I saved you because your scars are the very thing I will use to bring others back to life. Those deep soul scars aren't just about pain. They're proof that I can carry someone who felt completely out of options. You have no idea how many broken people need to hear your story. They need to see it lived out. That is why I am waking you up right now, stretching your heart, softening those cold, numb places. I haven't forgotten you. I haven't bypassed your life to focus on others who look more important from the outside. I am preparing you for a quiet, massive shift. Living proof that I still show up and heal wounds. Proving I still make all things new. Even a broken life the world wrote off as a lost cause. So stop selling yourself short. Do not lock yourself into the role of someone who just needs a tiny scrap of peace. I am calling you out of that survival mode. Go out, carry hope, and throw my light into every dark room you enter. As you take those steps, you will see that every single delay, every painful silence, and every single year that felt totally wasted was actually the long, winding road I led you down so you could stand here today, free from the terror that used to paralyze you. Have you ever noticed that during those pitch-black days, when hope feels completely dead inside, there is still a quiet pulse in your chest, like a faint breath keeping you alive, or a thin ray of light nobody else can see, but your soul knows exactly what it is. Sometimes you cannot even find words for it. You just find yourself tearing up for no clear reason, feeling this deep, strange ache of expectation, as if something cleaner, bigger, and truer is quietly pulling closer. You brush it off as a fleeting mood, but that is the spark of me breathing raw new life back into your bones. Not the cheap, fast reboot the world sells you, but a slow, heavy-duty restart where I do not just paint over the cracks, but fundamentally rewrite how you see yourself, how you see me, and this cold world. You pull back, whispering that you are too plain, too broken, and far too messed up. Too late for me to ever use you. But you forget that I never build my blueprints on the world's cheap standards. I do not check your age to see if you missed the boat. I do not use your past wreckage to stamp ruined across your forehead. I have always hand-picked the left behinds. I keep calling the names of the people nobody else even bothers to count, pulling up the very souls who already wrote their own death sentences. I am a father unlike anyone you have ever known. I can take a life branded as a total failure and transform it into living proof of how deeply I love and how far my power can reach. My power is made perfect in your weakness, shining like light through a cracked window so others can finally see. Because then, nobody can claim you did it on your own grit. They will have to admit that someone else stepped in. But to make you that kind of witness, my child, I have had to shield you way more times than you will ever know. If you sat down with me in the quiet right now and asked, Lord, how many times did you save me when I had no clue? You would probably just sit there completely speechless. Remember when you lost your temper in that gridlock? Because some stupid tiny delay totally wrecked your perfectly planned hectic day, and you swore the universe was against you. But if I pulled back the heavy curtain and showed you what was waiting up ahead, you would see that your missed opportunity was right where a brutal car wreck had just occurred. If you had arrived on schedule the way you wanted, you might not be here right now, breathing and talking with me. Remember that phone call you were dying to get? The promise that felt solid as concrete, which then suddenly went dead silent without a word. You stared at the ceiling all night. You convinced yourself that you weren't enough. That is why they bailed on you, why they ghosted, why they walked away. But when I blocked that call, I was shielding your future from a relationship that would have slowly eaten away your dignity and peace. I know which sweet talk turns into heavy chains. I see beforehand which warm smiles will turn into sharp blades. I can measure the depth of the gashes you could never foresee. That is why I block certain messages from ever sending. I let promises shatter. I let golden opportunities slip right through your fingers, even while hearing your heavy, defeated sighs. Even as I watch you beat yourself up, blame everyone else, and even point fingers at me, it breaks my heart to watch you weep over those things. But I will let you ache a little now, to spare you from a massive, shattering pain later. You stare at that one closed door like it is your whole world. But I see the entire sprawling hallway behind it. Some offers look incredibly enticing. Some partners look perfect. Some projects look like they will finally make you somebody. But deep inside is a brutal cost your soul cannot afford. Sleepless, anxious nights, twisting your character and slowly killing the beautiful simplicity I love about you. I will not let you sell your soul for a flash of cheap, temporary fame. That's why sometimes I take a path you'd never expect. I slam the door shut. I cut the ties you're desperate to hold on to, letting a heavy silence settle in. To you, it looks like loss, but to me, it's redemption. You keep asking why I don't give you answers right away. Because if I laid out the whole map, you'd only follow me out of fear, not real love. I need you to trust me when you don't have the facts. So your faith isn't some bargain, but a raw, true surrender. Every single move I make, clearing a path or blocking a road, giving or taking it, all comes from the exact same source, an endless, fierce love for you. And it's not some cheap love that spoils you by giving you every single thing you want, nor is it a cold, cruel love that throws you into tests just to check your loyalty. Think of a father keeping a sharp knife away from his toddler, even when the kid screams and begs for it, because he knows those little hands will only cut themselves. Or a surgeon pressing hard on a wound to clean out the dirt. It hurts worse for a second, but it saves you from infection later. Sometimes I let you walk straight into things that break you down. Not because I get some joy out of watching you collapse, but because I know only these trials can awaken real depth inside you. A raw empathy for other people's pain you never had before. Psalm 56 promises, I collect every single tear. I remember each drop and use them to keep your heart tender so. You don't go completely numb in a world bleeding with pain. Once you start to see that, you'll stop treating every setback as some dark curse or bad luck. You won't immediately assume I'm against you the moment your life gets messy. Instead, you'll learn to pause and ask a completely different question. Lord, in this mess, what are you shielding me from? What are you teaching me? What lies ahead that I am being prepared for? That isn't the cry of a victim, but of someone finally growing up in their faith, refusing to see themselves as a helpless casualty of life, but as someone being guided through every single step. When you stop pointing fingers and start looking for purpose, you'll feel a deep, quiet peace before anything around you even starts to change. You won't feel the need to control every detail in your own hands because you trust that I hold the future you can't see. Suddenly, the words you once just heard will finally settle deep in your soul. My word says, I have plans to prosper you. Nothing reaches you without passing through my hands first, always out of deep love. Don't assume this quiet protection is just so you can cruise through life in peace and nothing else. I didn't shield you from that danger just so you could walk away and live like I don't exist. I kept you alive because you are part of a much bigger picture I'm unfolding across this earth. Every time I yank you back from the edge of a pit, I'm not just thinking of you. I'm also thinking of the people you'll cross paths with tomorrow, the ones standing on the exact same ledge you just escaped. I want you to look at them and see past their messy struggles. I want you to recognize your own reflection staring back at you, so you can offer them more than just cheap advice. You can look them in the eye and say, I was there, and God pulled me out. That's why I don't wipe away every scar from your battles. I drain the poison, but I leave the wisdom so you can help pull others through. The grace I pour into you isn't meant to sit like a stagnant pond. It should be a running river, bringing life to dry, thirsty souls. Once you realize you were rescued and kept alive, not just so you could hide in a safe bubble, but so you could be sent back out into the world, everything changes. You'll stop asking, when do I get mine? And start asking, what can I give to someone today from the massive grace I've already been handed? You won't fear losing things anymore, because you'll remember the one who quietly broke the traps you never even knew were set for you. He is fully capable of giving you exactly what you need to survive. You won't live like a refugee, just trying to dodge the next storm. Instead, you will move like a soldier, serving a good commander. A leader who never sends you out onto the battlefield alone, but also refuses to let you hide away in a bunker forever out of fear. I want you to step out, knowing that every move, every raw word, and every small choice can be the exact bridge I use to reach a soul. Once you live like that, the delays, the ignored texts, the missed calls, and the shattered plans won't feel like open, bleeding wounds anymore. They'll just be road signs, reminding you that my love is always riding ahead of you, even in the dark. My child, every single thing I have done, am doing, and will do for you, from the high points that made you laugh to the dark nights you wept in sheer confusion, it all ties together into one single story. The story of a father who never walks away, never messes up, and is never late, and only moves out of pure goodness for his own. If you still feel even the slightest spark of warmth deep down today, that quiet whisper, wanting your life to mean more than just surviving, subscribe now to build this faith community with us. That I want you to know I planted that hunger deep inside you. I am pulling you out of survival mode and calling you into a life of purpose, not on your own steam, but on mine. I am the one who has shielded you time after time from unseen dangers, just so you could stand here today, alive and still breathing, ready to say, I am here, Lord, use me. Yet you still come running to me with a laundry list of hard questions, all the whys and how longs, as if our connection is only measured by how fast and how clearly I give you answers, and whether my timing fits your plans. But listen to me, my child. If I just answered your demands and walked away, I would be nothing more than a cold machine processing requests. You mean too much to me for that. I will not just toss quick fixes at your temporary confusion. I came to live with you to be the deepest answer to those empty, aching places that explanations can never satisfy. I see those nights you lie awake in the dark, your chest heavy, completely unable to squeeze out a single prayer. You think you are silent, but I hear the wordless ache rising from your soul. I sit beside you, quiet, without any noise, simply being there, gently touching the frozen places you thought had permanently turned to stone. Those locked rooms you boarded up years ago, terrified that opening them would shatter your entire world. Right there in the silence, I am working deeper than you know. You think you have to scream until the heavens shake to move me, but even a heavy sigh breathed my way makes heaven pause, because my love never cooled, even when you let go, doubted me, or blamed me. I see you quickly brush away those tears with your sleeve, and I will never tell you to just stop crying and get over it. I do not tell you to be strong like people do. I simply whisper, go ahead and weep in my arms, but do not let your tears distort who I am to you. Because while you feel like you are falling apart alone, I am holding your heart, gathering every broken piece you think nobody cares about. Every clumsy, tired word you breathe to me is never lost in the empty void. I hold on to them. I weave them into the design I am quietly unfolding for you. Not for 1 second do I look away from your heavy burden. You still think prayer is you pounding on a door while I stand inside deciding whether to open it. But the truth is, the moment you think of me, I am right there beside you, hand on the handle, just waiting for your invite to step inside. I have never been some cold, distant God who only listens when you say things perfectly. I am your Father, and I crave real conversation with you, far more than just fixing your problems. I know you keep score of which prayers I answer and which I do not. You use that scorecard to judge my heart, forgetting that the greatest gift I have for you is not a list of check marks on your agenda, but my own presence, the solid anchor who walks with you through everything, whether it is a gentle breeze or a violent storm. Whether you feel strong or cannot take another step, I am your inheritance, the one thing no one can tear away, even if you lose everything else you held dear. You keep treating me like a customer service desk, dropping off your demands and waiting impatiently for a transaction receipt. But I want you to walk in like a child coming home to their father, ready to sit down, unpack your heart, to speak, listen, and rest, and just stay longer than a few rushed minutes. Only in those quiet moments can I revive your parched soul with my truth, not to clutter your mind with more facts, but to give your soul a solid rock to hold on to rest on and rebuild you. You have gotten so used to living by feelings that crash like chaotic waves. Today you believe because you see proof. Tomorrow you drown when the horizon goes dark. So I am pulling your focus away from the chaotic surface of life, down into the deep, quiet current of my truth. There the water never stops running, completely unaffected by whatever storms hit your life. When you are willing to slow down with me, to read, to breathe in my words, and to lay your heaviest, rawest questions right inside of them, you will become like an underground spring, quiet, but unstoppable, hidden from view, yet bringing life to everything around you. I never promise to shield you from every harsh wind, but if you root your life deeply in my voice, in who I am, and in my fierce love for you, then, when the storms hit, you may bend, but never shatter, ache, but never break, grow tired, but never be swept away. What holds you up is not your own strength, but the invisible, unbreakable anchor tying us together. You often chase fleeting comfort from other people. I don't blame you for trusting empty, sweet-sounding promises that just dry up and blow away. I know you need people, but don't lean your whole weight on fragile supports. I want to be the bedrock under every relationship you build, under every dream and plan. So when a single brick gives way, your entire life doesn't come crashing down on top of you. Because I'm your foundation, nothing else. When you're just scraping by, living with the constant pressure of just surviving another 24 hours, you tend to hoard everything for yourself, praying the hard waves won't break your own walls. And when you lock everything inside, the life in you turns stagnant like a choked pool with nowhere to flow, slowly growing dark. But when you sit with me, when you really know me, and drink from my deep well, you'll realize you are meant to be a conduit, carrying clean running water from your depths to the parched earth around you. Hope won't be something you hoard out of fear anymore. It becomes a clean river. The more it flows, the deeper and richer it gets. I see strengths hidden deep inside you that you still don't trust, shaped by the brutal roads you've walked. Every single scar you carry, when brought into my quiet light, becomes the very oil that heals. It lets you hold someone else weeping on the exact ground where you once broke down. You won't throw cheap cliches at them. You know exactly how heavy that darkness is. And when you reach out to touch their shoulder, I am right there, speaking through your voice and looking through your tear-stained eyes, using your own healed wounds to whisper that I am close to them too. You might tell yourself you are too raw, too unready to help carry anyone else's heavy load. But never forget that I am the one doing the heavy lifting. You are just the clay jar, the lamp. Your job isn't to manufacture your own light. Just hold the oil, guard the flame, and stay connected to the power. Every time you come back to me, letting me touch the bruised places you try to hide, letting my words soak deep into your exhausted thoughts and the lies you believe about me and yourself. You let me rebuild what you think about your worth, success, survival, and true abundance. I didn't put you on this hard earth just to dodge pain and fade away in the shadows. I put you here so that through the rain and the blinding sun, you'd stand as a quiet, gritty proof that I am real, that I still rescue, still rebuild, and still walk right beside my people. Every single minute we spend together speaking, healing, resetting your course is never a waste of my grace. Out of those silent, raw moments, you'll stand up with clear eyes, steady steps, and a soft heart. People around you will feel something they can't quite name, something real, magnetic, and clean. It is my presence on you. Not a flashy, superficial show, but a heavy, quiet peace. Staying calm when things are tense, remaining steady when everything is shaking. I don't grow these things in you for your own pride, but so you can be a cool shade for a soul that's exhausted and dry. My child, stop living the kind of life that constantly begs, Lord, when will my life finally stop hurting and start whispering instead? Father, I want to know you more. Show me what you're doing in this hard season, so I can help carry someone else. When you change your focus like that, the gravity of your whole life shifts. You stop seeing me as a vending machine for your needs, and see me as a father, patiently shaping you with tough love and deep comfort. And in that quiet space, day by day, without any noise, I will quietly remake someone who was just scraping by into someone who breathes life into others, not through your own exhausted strength, but by the deep current of life I've poured directly into your chest, flowing into dark corners you never thought you'd reach. Now, I want you to stop and drop all the heavy noise around you for just a second. Whether you're in a tiny, cluttered room, a noisy city bus, or a corner coffee shop where you're completely anonymous, I am asking you to do one simple thing. Close your eyes, not to run away from your life, but to give me just a tiny breathing room inside your crowded head. Don't force a feeling, and don't try to conjure up anything grand. Just take a slow breath, unclench your fists, and let your soul settle. Right in this second, I am here, not locked away in some high heaven, but sitting right next to you, like a tired dad pulling his worn-out kid close when there are absolutely no words left to say. The cold, hollow void you feel inside is the exact room I want to occupy. You just have to let me in. As the noise fades, you'll feel a quiet heat creeping back into the parts of you that froze over years ago. It's not a loud, flashy firework display, but a slow, cool creek cutting through your dry wasteland. I didn't show up to make you shake with fear, but to roll away the massive boulders you've spent years dragging around. My love isn't some abstract idea for you to study. Let it sink in. This is a living presence surrounding you, touching the deep, quiet corners even you cannot reach. There are heavy depths of loneliness you never dare to speak of. Yet I chose to stay right there. And as I sit here with you, you will feel something shift. The darkness does not vanish instantly, but a single ray of light shows that you are no longer sitting alone in the dark. You will not leave this quiet moment the same person you were. I will not promise every problem vanishes the moment you close your eyes, but I do promise to touch the wounds you have buried for years. Sometimes, just letting me close for 1 second begins to loosen the heavy chains wrapped around your heart. That cold, rigid voice inside whispering that nothing ever changes, it finally begins to crack. And right into those tiny cracks, I plant a fragile seed of hope. It seems small and weak, but it has enough strength to push back the thoughts dragging you down. You might not see it yet, but deep inside, a quiet shift has started. Your soul is turning back toward me, even if you cannot find the words. You feel as though your faith died years ago, but it is actually just resting after a brutal storm. Today, as you sit quietly with me, that spark is breathing back to life. Not through fireworks, but a soft whisper inside. I am still here, still moving. It does not shout. It is like a gentle breeze, rustling the heavy curtains around your heart. Amidst your loud, tired thoughts, you do not need to understand. A quiet question starts to flicker. What if there is still hope for me? In that very thought, faith is catching its first sparks again. It does not ignore the real pain you have carried, but it softly whispers that those wounds are not your final page. Maybe lately you have felt a strange, restless pull. On the outside, everything looks identical. The same job, the same walls, the same routine. Yet, deep inside, you sense something is about to break open, like you are standing on the edge of a new day you cannot name. You brush it off as nervous tension or overthinking, but I need you to understand that this raw restlessness is actually my spirit calling out. I am waking you up from the heavy sleep of just surviving to tell you that your story does not end here. This is not the grave. This is a bridge. If you stop and ask, Lord, are you calling me? You will realize you are no longer just watching your life happen from the sidelines. My clock does not look like the calendar you keep. You count years by gray hairs, by missed breaks, and by how far behind you feel. But I measure time by the character being shaped deep inside your soul. The seasons you thought were completely wasted were the exact times I softened your rough edges and humbled your pride. I peeled away the armor you wore to hide your fear. And those long nights of silent, aching tears, I saved every single drop, like rain soaking a dry, hidden field. Once these dark clouds move on, that pain will become the very roots anchoring your faith deep into the soil. When the next heavy winds blow, you will not shake as easily as before. You often believe my silence is a cruel test of raw endurance. Really, I am teaching you a new dialect, the language of raw trust, without needing proof. When I do not move on your timeline, you learn to sit quietly with yourself and face the questions you used to drown with noise. You start to see where you put your trust instead of relying on me, the fragile metrics you used to measure your worth. My silence strips away those false crutches. When they finally fall apart for good, you can fall back on the only foundation that never shifts. This is not punishment. It is deep, raw healing. I know a quiet voice still tells you that it is too late. Your prime is gone, and your breaks are over. Your energy is drying up, and you think your only job now is to survive. But I have never been limited by your age, your heavy circumstances, or the story of your past mistakes. I once chose a man with gray hair who had given up on his dreams, and through him, I birthed an entire nation. I searched for another who ran away to hide in the desert, trying to forget his old burning dreams. Yet I gave him a calling that reshaped history. These are not mythic fables. They are proof that I do not just use the young and eager. I love starting over with people who believe they are finished. You are not in the wrong spot. You have not strayed so far that you cannot return. Even along the dark, blind curves of your road, I am preparing you for what is next. Right now, with all your visible scars and the brutal, expensive lessons you learned, those hard falls make you the perfect fit for the road ahead. I do not want a version scrubbed clean of real life. Forget the polished, perfect act you try to put on. Just you, raw and real, in this exact moment, are the clay I want. I put you here in these heavy circumstances, not because I ran out of choices and had to settle. Absolutely not. I know the road ahead demands a soft, humble heart, one ready to listen and yield to me. And that is exactly what those quiet years of silence and hidden tears have built inside you. No part of your pain is wasted, not even those seasons when you felt yourself spinning in hopeless circles. When relationships broke, dreams died, and your whispered prayers seemed to evaporate into cold, empty space. I gather those pieces. I do not waste even your worst failures. I shape them into wisdom so you can guide others stumbling in the dark. I do not waste those nights you collapsed at your desk, crushed by bills and anxiety. I use that weight to help you feel the deep exhaustion of the person standing next to you. I do not waste the days you thought you ruined everything. I turn them into the bedrock where you truly discover grace. In my hands, no broken piece of your life is swept away as garbage. Your voice might tremble today, but the time is coming when it will echo with quiet power. Not because you memorized dry facts, but because you survived the fire you are talking about. You won't preach comfort as an empty theory. You will tell them of the dark nights I pulled you up. You won't sell faithfulness as a cheap slogan. You will remember when you felt abandoned, then realized my promise in Hebrews 13 holds true. I will never leave you. When you speak, people on the absolute edge of giving up will find hope. They will see what I did in your life and know I can do it for them too. Your story will become a heavy key, unlocking the silent, invisible chains binding the souls of everyone listening. You are not just a survivor of pain. You are the road I am paving to carry my grace into the dark places where you once sat alone, wishing someone would find you. You are a rushing river now, not a stagnant pool. The life you pour out will run back to refresh your own soul. You are a bridge connecting lonely, forgotten hearts to a love they thought was impossible. You are an instrument in my grip, sometimes tuned tight, sometimes stripped of loose strings, sometimes enduring harsh, discordant noises, just so you can play a deeper, truer melody. Every note of your life, the low and the high, I am weaving into a masterpiece that only you can perform. What looks to you right now like chaos and blinding fog will soon be cleared away, revealing a path more solid and steady than you ever dreamed. I do not promise you the entire map tomorrow, but I will give you just enough light for the next step, teaching you to walk out of your safe zone and step into my grander story. You will find the purpose of your daily grind elevated to something eternal. Terror will no longer dominate your mind because it must back down to a deeper, quiet certainty. Your life has a gritty purpose. I am the one who has been, is, and always will be working, bringing to completion the work I started in you, just as Philippians 1:6 promises. From there, you will find the raw courage to open your eyes, refusing to crawl back to your old crutches, ready to walk tall, because you know you are held by the one who never walks away and is never a second too late. Listen, my child, I see the heavy, tangled mess in your chest, the anxiety burning slowly day after day, and those dark thoughts trailing you like a stubborn shadow, making every step drag and turning even a simple breath into a battle. Yet right when you feel completely isolated under that crushing weight, I am right here, working in the silence, piece by piece. I am cutting the invisible ropes that strangle your mind. I am gently reaching into those raw, hidden wounds you lock away, the ones you are too terrified to touch because you think they will bleed again. I am not here to yell at you for being weak. I am here to carefully pull out the deep, stubborn roots of fear that have choked your soul for years. Those old mocking voices telling you that you are worthless and unlovable. When I touch the memories you bolted shut, it isn't to drag you back through the dirt or make you blame yourself. It is so I can blow away the heavy dust suffocating the fragile heart I loved long before you ever knew how to whisper my name. You have carried this heavy armor for so long that you think the ache is just part of you. But hear me. I never built you to survive in constant exhaustion. You were made to breathe clean air, to stand on solid ground, and to face the wind with a heart that does not flinch at the threat of pain. Slowly I am silencing those vicious whispers in your head and replacing them with my voice, telling you that you are not a burden or a mistake, but a deeply loved, fiercely protected child. I watch you when you try so hard to look tough, even though you are quietly screaming to give up. And right there, in that exact brokenness, I am pouring my peace. Not a cheap escape, but a gritty peace that lets you stand firm. Like and subscribe to walk this journey with our faith community. You weren't made to drag yourself through life, carrying the heavy weight of everyone else's opinions, keeping your head down, because you're deeply ashamed of where you've been. I created you to look up even when your eyes are burning with tears, and to finally believe that who you are isn't defined by their praise or their criticism, but simply because you belong to me. Sure, there are people who threw words at you that left deep scars. Even if those sharp words still echo inside your head like blades, the actual last word on your life belongs to me, not to the people who tore you down. Maybe you've been told so many times that you're just nobody, that you'll never achieve anything, and your future is just a dead end. But I don't agree with that lie. I know about the pitch-black days you survived in total silence. I saw you choke back those tears just to force yourself to take another step. Because I know what you went through, I'm telling you straight, this story isn't going to end with you trapped in fear forever. This isn't the final chapter. It's a pivot point. A moment where I reach in and completely turn your story around. You felt like you'd be stuck in this thick fog forever, lost and blind. But I promise you right now, you are stepping out of it. Not because you're white-knuckling it alone, but because my hands are holding you up. Eventually, you'll look back at this rough road and realize that in the dirt and the gravel where nothing seemed to grow, I was actually burying quiet lessons, unexpected helpers, and moments of relief to rebuild you from the inside out. Every dark valley has a reason. Not a single step you take is wasted as long as you keep your hand in mine. Even right now, as you sit here listening, invisible chains holding you back are starting to snap. I'm breaking down those toxic mental loops that tell you you're worthless. Those deep-seated worries you thought you'd carry to the grave are loosening up. I'm patiently untangling every single knot, even if it feels like nothing is happening. I'm not rushing, but I'm never standing still. My spirit is actively working on you, steady and careful, like a doctor who refuses to rush while stitching up a wound. Missing nothing, ignoring nothing. You feel like you can't break out of the mental cage where you've locked yourself away, swallowed by guilt, shame, and constant distrust. But I'm unlocking those heavy doors one by one. No force, no rushing. I won't drag you out of your safe spot. I'm just taking your hand and stepping into the light, together, letting you slowly relearn trust. Not overnight, but through every tiny step, every conversation, and every single time you find the guts to tell me what terrifies you. I know the people who were supposed to protect you ended up stabbing you in the back, abandoning you despite their promises. So you built a massive concrete wall to keep the rest of the world out. I don't blame you for being defensive. I get why those barriers kept you alive. But I'm not here to tear you down. I've come to gently take those walls apart, keeping you safe under my wing, while curing your deep loneliness. I don't expect you to trust humanity again overnight. Just start by letting me in first. From there, we'll figure out who is safe, who you need to let go of, who is actually here to support you, and whom you need to walk away from. You are not defined by the scars people gave you, nor are you ruined by your own mistakes. Who you really are is what I see when I look at you. I don't view you as some pending disaster waiting to happen. You are a work in progress. To me, you are never a burden, not some broken, defective factory mistake. You are someone I handpicked, someone I actively searched for, someone I pull back up every single time you hit rock bottom. I've stepped in so many times just so you wouldn't crash headfirst into dangerous traps. I shut doors that looked beautiful, but hid deep, dark drop-offs you couldn't see. I cut off connections that felt like blessings, but were actually traps. I know you've been angry when your plans completely fell through, but if you saw the entire layout of your life like I do, you'd know that those moments of painful loss were actually shielding you from utter disaster. If you were sitting here today breathing and listening, with a real shot at starting over, it's not random luck. It's because I have had my hand on your life this entire time. If you could see every single time I stepped in behind the scenes, planting hope right in the middle of your empty wasteland, you wouldn't waste another second complaining. you'd find your heart absolutely bursting with real gratitude. Not some fake polite thank you, but the raw realization that hits you when you look back and see how many times you thought you were completely dead in the water, yet here you are. I'm not asking for instant perfection. I'm just asking for one small step of faith, to drop the lie that you are unloved and stop telling yourself that this dead end is as far as you'll ever go. Tear off the ugly labels people slapped on you and finally believe what I have to say about you. If you are weary and heavy burdened, come to me. Every day you trust my words, that crushing weight on your shoulders will grow lighter. I do not just want you to survive and breathe. I want you to truly live. I want you walking around, knowing deep down in your bones that you are fiercely loved, protected, and sent. Every single high and low you have had to survive becomes raw material I use to heal others walking that same dark road. Once you see this, you stop looking at your story like a victim and realize, I am shaping you, piece by piece, into a living, breathing testament of hope. Proof of a fierce love that never walks out, never turns away, and never gets exhausted by your brokenness. I am right here beside you, on this road, breaking your chains, pulling fear out by its roots, and flooding your soul with quiet peace, until you can finally smile and say, thank you, Lord, that you work all things together for my good, even the wreckage I never understood. Listen, this is not the end. What you are looking at right now is just the messy first page of what I am writing. I know there are dreams you packed away, and desperate prayers you thought fell onto cold, empty ground, completely unnoticed. So many plans you buried deep because you figured your turn would never come. You think they are gone forever, but I have kept them safe, waiting for the perfect hour. I never plant a seed in your heart just to walk away and watch it die. I hold back only because I know that if blessings come too early, they will crush you instead of growing you. But now your heart is ready. Your eyes have learned to look up to me instead of staring at your struggles. So I am starting to untie the knots I had to keep tight. You will watch doors locked tightly for years suddenly swing open, as if they were never locked at all. Ruined roads you thought were blocked forever will suddenly clear out, made ready just for you. People who used to walk right past you, who treated you like a ghost in the room, will suddenly look you in the eye, ask for your wisdom, and value your presence as if you were always meant to be there. Every empty place where you struggled, whether it was empty pockets, broken relationships, or missed chances, or just that quiet desire to be seen that every human heart craves, I am going to fill it, not with a loud show, but so clearly that you will know no human hand could have put this together. You are going to feel the shift from scraping by to having more than enough. Not so you can brag about your own strength, but so you realize there is a deep well of grace running through your life that will never run dry. I do not do this because you have it all together, or because you earned it. It flows from my stubborn kindness and relentless faithfulness. I keep my promises. I stand by the covenant I made. I keep on loving you even when you are exhausted, drowning in doubt, or ready to throw in the towel. So as you step into this easier, lighter season, where life feels beautiful again, I need you to grasp one vital truth. This flood of blessing is not just to make your day-to-day life comfortable or easy, but so others can see my hand at work through you. I do not lift you up to build you a private throne, but to make you a lighthouse in the dark, showing lost souls that real hope is still alive. I mend your broken pieces, not just to erase your pain, but so the people who are still hurting can look at your healed scars and believe there is a way out for them too. So when the tide turns, when new jobs find you, and things start falling into place, when healthy love and unexplainable favor arrive, do not get comfortable. Do not forget the long nights you wept alone, begging me for help. Do not let others praise you, while a quiet, dangerous voice in your heart whispers, "I earned this," as if you dragged yourself up this mountain alone. Pride does not always shout from the rooftops. It creeps in, silently, whispering, "If it was not from me, none of this would exist." It shows when you look down on those still struggling below you, and in how you stay quiet about my grace, while bragging about your own hustle. Never forget the character and humility we built together during those brutal dry seasons can be wrecked by a single moment of ego. I might hand you influence and authority. I will give you a platform, but I will also teach you to bend your knee. Only those who bow before me can stand strong against the temptations of that success. Stay close in the quiet places, choosing to do what is right when nobody is looking. Keep your heart pure and speak truth. Like and subscribe to join our beautiful online faith community. That is where your soul finds its real grit. And it is not about forcing the world to listen to you. It is holding your ground when the wind cuts. It is a quiet peace while everything else is falling apart. A love that survives when you are completely misunderstood. You did not just stumble into this moment by accident. This is not some random scroll through the noise. I cleared the way so you would read, so you would hear. To just stop here, because I see you standing at the edge of something new. This isn't cheap comfort to get you through the hour. These words are hitting the deepest, rawest part of you, the place you buried because you could not bear to hope and get crushed again. I am reaching for the fire that was buried under your dust. I am bringing back those wild, God-given dreams you traded away just to survive. When you feel your chest tighten, when your eyes burn, and a sudden ache wakes up inside, that is not a mood. It is your faith breathing again, a raw spark forcing its way through the cold dirt of your doubt. I will not promise a smooth path with no more pain. I do not make deals with lies. But I promise, the second you choose to answer, to trust me to step into the deep, the battles ahead will not feel like the old ones. You will stop fighting like a casualty just trying to survive and start living like someone who is chosen, armed and sent on a real mission. Even your prayers will start to change, no longer begging me to just let you survive, but asking me to turn your scars into someone else's hope. Your daily grind will shift too, becoming a way to bring my weight into the room. You will love people differently without that exhausting, demanding ache, but loving with a fierce, relentless grace, patient and fast to forgive. Everything I start to unlock, from career breaks to family breakthroughs and deep shifts in your soul, will shape you into the masterpiece I drew before you ever drew breath. That is why I am talking to you like this, quiet but intense. Pay attention. Do not let your heart harden. Notice the quiet, small mercies, and scream my name when you are laughing or breaking. When you lean in, your faith stops being a passing high and becomes a steady, raw fire, guiding you and everyone I put in your path in this next season. Out of the wreckage of your broken story, your belief, the one you thought died, the one that felt like a ghost, is quietly being pulled back to life by my hands. This is not the cheap, loud hype of the past or some fragile rush that shatters when life gets hard. It is a belief forged in the fire, tried in tears, that has screamed, questioned, and doubted, wanted to give up completely, but still chose to hold on to me when there was nothing else left to grasp. I saw the nights you could only bleed out a few broken words. And yet, it was those raw, desperate whispers that became the seed I used to wake your soul. You had no clue that while you were just trying to survive, I was deep in the dirt, keeping the roots alive, rebuilding you from the inside out, so that now, when I finally speak, your belief can stand tall and dare to believe again, breaking every limit around you. So hear me. Get your heart ready. My promises to you were never wiped away. I have been guarding them for the perfect season to pour them out, not to crush you, but to make you strong. Very soon, you won't just hear people talk about my grace. You will be the one actually living the miracles you used to think were only for the holy, the gifted, or the worthy. Those heavy prayers you crossed off because you thought the clock ran out or the door slammed shut and that they were dead and gone. I am going to bring them back. Not to make you ache with regret, but to prove I heard every single whisper you breathed in the dark. But what I am building for you won't arrive with the loud, cheap hype this world uses to show off. It will break slowly, like the dawn, not with a loud blast, but steadily burning away the shadows you got used to hiding in. I will start by rewriting how you see your own face, changing how you talk about your struggles, and redefining what hope actually means to you. One morning, you will open your eyes and realize it is not because your messy world suddenly got perfect, but because the dry, dead desert inside you is gone. You will hear the shift in your own voice, dropping those tired lies like, I am just average, or I always mess up. Instead, you will start speaking my truth, that you are fiercely loved, chosen, and sent. You are not some accidental leftover in this world, but a piece of a design I have mapped out to the very bone. Eyes that once only saw the world through grit, fear, and feeling small will be cleared by my hand. I want you to feel what I am building right inside your everyday, mundane moments. A passing chat, a dead-end shift that feels far from holy, or a stranger you figured would never even look at the gospel. A tiny crack in a door that suddenly blows wide open. My spirit is not a random draft that leaves you shivering in the dark for a brief second. He is going to slowly rebuild, piece by piece, how you think, react, love, and forgive. Stare down your scars and look at yourself. The ground that made your knees buckle will be the exact place you learn to stand. The wreckage you desperately wanted to burn away will be healed by my hands, rewritten into a raw story that will pull up others falling into the same hole you crawled out of. The wall that kept you trapped, making you think you had hit your absolute limit, I will carve into a milestone that says, here is where I stepped in. After that, looking back won't bring a wave of shame. You will feel thankful I stopped you from tearing yourself apart. Those heavy thoughts of a dead end will slowly fade out, letting you realize that inside my plan, no chapter is wasted. There are only pages we have not finished writing. You are going to smile again. Not that fake mask you put on to tell people you are fine, but one rising from the deepest corners of your soul. You will feel my grip on your hand, knowing you are guided, carried, and trusted with a real part of my work here. You will actually dare to believe again, not with a cheap faith that tries to cut deals for what you want, but a deep trust built on knowing exactly who I am. No matter how the storm turns, that trust will make you look at the cold places where you wept with a brand new perspective. Instead of crying out, "Why me?" you will start to ask, "Lord, what are you showing me here? And who can I help with this raw story as we step into this brand new season?" I am opening up for you. You are going to see it clearly. The hope I pour into you cannot be locked inside the four walls of your life. I am going to bring tired, broken, and desperate souls right to your doorstep. Not because you are perfect, but because you can look them in the eye and say, I was in that exact dark place, and here is how I got out. You will suddenly find yourself highly tuned to the quiet pain of people around you. Things you used to walk right past will make you freeze, listen, and pray. Reach out a hand, write a text, or just sit with them. I will take the exact scars you tried to hide and turn them into pathways to me. Because nobody can reach a bleeding heart, like a heart that was once shattered and put back together. Right there, you will finally feel what redemption really means. Not just getting rescued from a bad spot, but stepping directly into the work I am doing on this earth. You won't just pray, give me quiet, give me enough to get by. Instead, you will find yourself praying for things way past your own horizon, saying, use me as you want. Don't let my pain go to waste. Let it be the anchor for some other soul. That kind of surrender won't cost you a thing. It actually opens up a path with grit, direction, and deep purpose. Instead of just drifting in a cold current, you will step into a season where waking up isn't just surviving another mile of asphalt, but a new page we are writing side by side. I will point out the narrow doors you walked right past. A simple job that becomes the stage where your quiet faith changes the whole room. A messy, broken family that becomes the dirt where you plant forgiveness and real love. A tiny circle where I teach you how to stay the course, to walk shoulder to shoulder and carry each other's weight. You will see that the best times aren't when you win what the world cheers for, but when you are planted exactly where you belong, moving to my heartbeat, letting grace spill out of you naturally, without having to force a thing. And when I heal you, I don't just put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. I don't just paint over the cracks so people think you are fine. I dig down to the roots, rebuild the foundation, steer your path straight, and completely remake what you crave and dream of, making you entirely new, not just a patched-up version of yesterday. I won't hand you your broken shards and expect you to glue them back with trembling hands. I will use my own hands to shape a new vessel, a new story, a different path for you, until you look in the mirror and whisper, is this really me? Yes, you are still you, but completely changed, guided, and finally learning how to truly love, learning to trust, to live, and to give deeply. Believe me, this new chapter isn't some distant fantasy. It started the second you stopped running, the moment you got honest with me about your deepest terrors, your raw pain and your shame. I've already begun that work. I'm doing it now, and I won't stop until it's finished. You don't have to carry this alone. Just let me keep shaping you, and take tiny, honest steps in response to my word, so that one day, looking back, you will exclaim, if it had not been for the Lord, I could never have become like this. In that moment, you won't just celebrate, but everyone who watched your struggle will realize no soul is ever too far gone in my hands if they let me keep writing. You think you're stuck in the exact same spot, watching the days bleed together without any real change. But deep in that heavy silence where nothing seems to move, a massive shift has already started inside your chest. Quiet, relentless, and completely hidden from the noise of the world, like thick tree roots clawing deep through the dark soil, unseen and unheard, yet constantly searching and stretching lower, digging for water, and preparing you to stand so strong that no storm on earth can tear you up. That is what I am doing in your soul. You look around and see the same old walls, the same tired faces, the same grinding bills, the same constant worries, and those unanswered questions keeping you awake. But I can see the shift clearly. You are not the person you were yesterday. The heavy things that used to bring you to your knees have lost their grip. The cruel words that used to crush you for weeks are now just empty echoes. The raw wounds that made you lock your heart away are turning into scars, proof that you survived and are still standing. This isn't you just gritting your teeth. It is my spirit quietly working in the dark, rewiring your thoughts, healing the rawest spots, and sorting out the chaos you could never fix alone. Where my spirit is, fear loses its megaphone. It is reduced to a weak whisper, and you have learned to tune back into my steady voice. Stop telling yourself you are weak. You've walked straight through heavy storms that would have destroyed you years ago. You survived those sleepless, suffocating nights and those heavy gray mornings, days when your soul was completely drained, yet you still held on to me with a fragile, broken prayer. Lord, please, do not leave me. Those raw, whispered words clinging to me in the pitch black, when you had no idea what I was doing, have moved my heart more than you will ever know. I don't care about polished, perfect prayers, rehearsed from the teeth out. I am drawn to the bleeding, awkward, and raw cries, that claw out of a bruised chest turning to me, even when the mind is screaming with confusion. I treasure my children who don't run from their pain, but stumble back to me with trembling knees, hearts full of hard questions and tears still fresh on their cheeks. You have done this 1,000 times, and though you think it's nothing major, up here, every single tear of yours is kept. Every heavy sigh registers with me. I have never turned my face away when you wept, nor shut my ears to your grief. But many times I choose to let silence sit with you, instead of throwing cheap words over an open wound. Some deep fractures need to be bandaged slowly, by my presence, not fixed with explanations. While the world is obsessed with itself, I am the one place you can drop your heavy guard without any fear of judgment. When you feel yourself fading into the gray background, invisible and forgotten, I whisper your name like a father holding on to the memory of his favorite kid in a sea of countless strangers. There are desires you thought died years ago, old dreams you buried deep in the dirt, swearing never to speak of them again. I didn't throw them out. I am keeping them safe in a place time cannot touch, waiting to drop them back into your palms when you are ready to hold them properly. You think you've lost everything, but I actually held those things back to protect you from being crushed by blessings you weren't ready to carry yet. I don't confiscate to punish you. I store the best of it away until your soul grows strong enough to receive the weight without collapsing. And even though your physical eyes can't trace it yet, deep in the unseen, a new season is already rolling. The rusted gears you thought were dead are clicking back into place, moving with absolute purpose. It is no accident you feel that strange, heavy fire in your chest lately, urging you to stand up again, like an ache to stop living on standby. A quiet, stubborn whisper in your chest saying, maybe God still has something for me. That is no illusion. It is my signal reaching through the dark, proof that my breath is stirring in the ruins you thought were dead. Look closely. You do not react to the chaos around you the way you used to. You do not buckle under the weight as fast. The urge to blame yourself is losing its grip. You stop to ask me before running to others. These shifts are quiet, almost invisible to the eye, but to me they are massive, crucial milestones. They prove the hidden roots of your faith are digging down deep, no longer dependent on fleeting, shallow emotions. Every single step you take in this season is being quietly aligned by my hand, even if your daily routine looks the same. Your internal compass has shifted. You used to dread dreaming because every hope felt like an invitation to a new disappointment. You kept your heart locked tight, believing that trust only left you raw and exposed to more hurt. You used to fear joy, waiting for the other shoe to drop, the moment you smiled. I see those scars. I understand. I have watched you brace for impact, like someone flinching from a hailstorm pressed flat against the cold wall, watching life from a safe distance. But, my child, the season I am leading you into now is not for staying on the sidelines. This time, I am guiding every step, not your anxiety, not your frantic impulses, and not the empty noise of the world. I will not let you slip back into those old, exhausting cycles. You are far too tired for them. I am pulling you out of survival mode. I want you to see that you were built for more than just staying alive. You were made to love, to give, to stand as raw proof that healing is real. Every minor decision you face now is something I will use to tune your heart to my heartbeat. The long road ahead might still look foggy, but you will recognize the next step when it comes. It will not trigger panic. It will carry you into peace. It won't force you to perform, but will invite you to rest in me. I do not promise a painless road, but I swear you won't suffer through it in the dark. You won't have to keep guessing the path or prop yourself up on empty reserves. I am walking right beside you. I clear the way ahead. I guard your back. I hem you in so completely that the monsters that broke your hope will become nothing but faded memories, powerless to stop you. And as you yield to this slow, quiet work inside you, you will see that my promises are not hollow words, but a living, breathing reality. The dry soil blooms. Ashes turn to beauty. Your raw grief becomes a brand new song. The goodness that was blocked, dammed up by heavy stones of past trauma and fear, is now, as you let me touch your deepest scars, starting to break free. Those heavy obstacles are being rolled back so the currents can run wild. Once that floodgate opens, you will not just quench your own thirst. You will become a deep well for the exhausted souls around you. From the very start, my plan was always to rescue you, to heal you, and to make your life a living monument of my grace in a raw, cynical world starving for hope and not knowing where to find it. My child, quiet your mind for a second and let this sink deep into your bones if you trust me. If you can cling to my hand, not just when things are easy, but right here in the middle of the smoking wreckage, then believe me, not a single scar on your body is wasted. The storms that brought you to your knees, the brutal moments that hollowed you out where no one could reach, the sudden losses that left you spinning, and the dreams that crumbled into dust. None of this is trash in my hands. I gather every single broken shard, wipe off the grit and tears, and piece them into a masterpiece you cannot yet fathom. You only see a heavy gray fog, but I am linking these pieces into something permanent and beautiful. I do not take pleasure in your suffering, but I refuse to let any of it go to waste. I counted every tear you cried, not as a record of your weakness, but as proof that you never had to crawl through that dark valley all by yourself. You might forget the nights you wept on the floor, but I never will. You might think you are too broken to rebuild, but I hold the pen, I write the ending, and I have not written the final chapter of your life. This is just a longer pause than you planned, and in this silence, I am not sleeping. I am strengthening the bedrock deep down where no eye can see. So when you step out, you can stand firm and lift up others who are trembling. Like and subscribe to join our faith community as we heal together. You constantly beat yourself up for wasting time watching your best years slip right through your fingers. Mourning missed chances you think are gone forever, all because of a few bad calls. Looking back at that wreckage, whispering words like useless, wasted, and if only. But I need you to rename those years. To me, they are not a blank void, but the quiet backstage where I taught you what books never could, what advice or easy success could never touch. I used those driftless days to reveal the hunger in your soul and where you drifted. I used those pitch-black seasons to train your eyes to find the tiniest spark of light. I let you taste loss to prove your true worth is not measured in wins or losses. You call it a ruined past. I call it broken plowed soil, ready for new life. And that is exactly what I am doing now. I am planting seeds again, rebuilding, resetting the stage, operating with a patience far deeper than you can comprehend. You look down and see nothing but scorched earth after a devastating fire. But I see the perfect foundation for a new home, because the old debris is gone and cannot hold you back. You will not live in these ashes forever. You will walk out. One day you will barely believe this was ever your rock bottom. I know those quiet moments when you look up at the sky and ask inside, why did you let this happen? Why did I have to bleed this much? You only ask that because you are looking at the road from where you stand, where you can only see a few feet ahead. I do not blame you for that. I know how exhausted your heart is. But understand this, if I instantly swept away every single thing that hurts you, you would never grasp what you were saved from. Those painful wounds slowed you down, stopping you in your tracks, keeping you from sprinting headfirst into dead ends that only looked like gold. Those crushing disappointments dragged you away from toxic chains that would have stripped away your very identity. I do not cause evil or sin, but I know how to weave your worst moments into a story of healing. What the enemy meant for your destruction, I will use to show the world that nothing can tear you from my hand when you let me hold you. This is not cheap positive thinking to soothe your grief. It is how I operate. I do not expect you to fake a smile while you are bleeding out. I only ask you to lift your head, to look a little higher and further, to see that pain ends, but my love goes on. You live in quiet panic, fearing you are too late, too far behind, and that my promises have withered away under the weight of your failures and the passing years. But my child, I am not like people who change their minds just because time keeps moving, or who trash the script of your life the moment you stumble. What I started in you, I will patiently finish. The years the locusts ate, I will restore in ways you cannot comprehend. I will not just return your old life, because much of it was never healthy for your soul. Instead, I am offering you deeper, truer, lasting gifts that grow you up and soften your heart without shattering it, teaching your faith to cling to me instead of demanding perfect outcomes. One day, looking back, you will whisper, the delay was not a waste. Every single tear was worth it, because they showed me what actually matters. Pain itself is not beautiful, but in the middle of it, you found me. And that is what redeems every single lost year. So please do not let go of my hand now. I say please, not out of weakness, but because I see the beauty waiting for you if you just hold on. You feel like you are dragging yourself through a dead-end valley, but you are standing right on the edge of a breakthrough. Just one more step, even a slow one, taken with tears streaming down your face. A terrified step is enough to shift your horizon. You do not have to leap. Just do not turn around. Every time you crawl forward, I run to meet you. You see yourself barely moving, but I am closing the gap between us with urgent love. Every quiet turn, every whisper of my name, every time you confess, I am too weak. I want to give up, but you still do not let go of the rope. Those are the moments pulling you out of the dark pit you thought you could never escape. You cannot see the place of belonging I have prepared for you, a reward that no power can steal. No courtroom can strip this from your hands. This isn't some high throne to look down on others. It is just a quiet room to sit, drop your heavy gear, and finally stop pretending that you have got it all together. Right in the middle of this roaring chaos, I have already set a table for you. The enemy can only watch from the sidelines. He cannot touch you here. When you are ready to step in and let me heal you, you will see that every wrong turn, every hard fall, and every sleepless night was just leading you back home. I do not get a thrill out of watching you break down. But only in this quiet place can you finally see how fiercely I actually love you. You will start to realize that what you once thought was a harsh punishment was really a protective wall keeping you safe from paths that would have broken your spirit and made you lose yourself. What felt like cold abandonment was just me pulling you away from toxic things that were slowly killing your soul. What looked like a dead end was actually me turning the page, starting a chapter completely clean of your past mistakes. A place where your failures do not get to label you anymore. You are defined only by the love I give you. My promise to you is not some cheap line to make you feel better. It is an unbreakable deal paid for with my own life. People make empty promises and walk away. I do not work that way. And I am not driven by moods. I do not love you more when you succeed, or less when you are weak. My love for you is not built on a scoreboard of achievements, and my care does not crumble when you fall down. I love you simply because you belong to me. I knew you long before you ever noticed me. When you trip up, I do not judge. I see your pain. I do not see trash to be thrown away. When you look away and run, I am just waiting for you. I never lock the door on you. When you are lost, I will guide you through the noise and stay right beside you. It is hard to believe this is real, because you're used to conditional love that always demands something in return. But I want to show you a different kind of devotion. It is nothing like your past. This love does not make empty promises and disappear. It does not hand you a gift just to rip it back. It will not push you away for being imperfect. So let your scars tell a deeper story than just raw pain. Let them prove that I walked with you into your darkest valleys. When you share your journey, do not just speak of the wreckage. Tell them about me, the one sitting in the dirt with you. When you look at those old wounds, do not just remember the failure. Remember the hands that cleaned and stitched them. I picked you up when your bones felt like lead. Every loss, every crushing delay can be the start of a brand new chapter. You will not just struggle to survive anymore. You will live with purpose, ready to lift others up. My restoration does not mean wiping your memory or pretending the wreckage never happened. Instead, I make you different, deeper, gentler, and completely unbreakable. Through all of this, one thing stays absolutely solid. No matter where you find yourself today, whether you feel worthy of it or not, my message has not changed. I love you. That is it. I will not take it back. Listen close. I know the dark corners you wish you could erase, the regrets that make your chest tighten with raw shame. Those times you deliberately walked away from me because you were just too angry or broken. When you let bitter words slip out of your mouth, things you are too terrified to repeat today. I was right there. I watched it all, and I never looked away. You think your reckless mistakes scare me off. But my love is not so fragile that it shatters over a few dark chapters. I do not look away when you fall. I do not pull my hand back just because you cannot stand the sight of yourself. My devotion does not swing with your changing moods. You run hot and cold. You waver. but my presence stays absolutely steady. I am your anchor. You can crawl back any time, even when your soul is completely knotted up. You picture me keeping a checklist of your sins, waiting to settle the score. So when you mess up, you run and hide. You go completely silent, terrified of what I might say to you. But you do not realize that I am not some distant judge waiting to strike you down. I am full of mercy, kneeling in the dirt to gather every shattered piece you have dropped. Even the ugly ones you try to bury. I do not sweep them aside. I collect them, wipe off the grime, and start building something brand new. To you, it looks like a pile of broken, useless glass. But in my hands, it is the raw grit for a story only you can tell. You look in the mirror and see ruin. I see a canvas in progress. I am not afraid to step back to adjust, to start over from scratch if I have to, just so you can finally stand firm, rooted deep in my raw love. There are chapters you want to burn, whole seasons of memory you try to lock in the dark and pretend they never happened. You regret trusting the wrong voices, bleeding on the wrong dead-end paths, selling your heart out so cheaply. But listen to me, those blacked-out pages, once I touch them, will become the very parts you read with tears of gratitude. I do not sugarcoat your wreckage or deny the fallout, but I can take the dirtiest chapters of your shame and turn them into the canvas where grace shines brightest. I do not love the damage you have done, but I have never abandoned the masterpiece that carries your name because of it. You are dead wrong if you think the story is over just because you hit a stretch of tragedy. The truth is, the book of your life is wide open, and I am still holding the pen, inking every hard line, every chaotic chapter, with a fierce love you cannot yet wrap your mind around. On cold nights, you sit in the dark, staring at the road behind you, whispering, I have ruined everything. It is all gone. Nothing left to salvage. You speak as if you are the one who writes the final page. But I see the entire horizon from start to finish, while you are just standing in the mud of a crooked, twisting path, screaming that there is no way out. But if you would just look up, you would see me waiting at the crossroads your eyes cannot find yet. You think that when you fail, every promise I made gets ripped up. But I am not a man. I do not break my word just because you tripped. I do not get scared off like people do. I saw every single crash coming and still wrote promises into your future, knowing there would be a night you desperately needed a place to run home to, a solid handhold to keep you from falling off the cliff. You are bone-tired from carrying all that heavy guilt. You hold on to every scar like a whip you use on yourself, believing that if you bleed long enough, you will somehow earn my grace. But listen to me. That is not how this works. I do not demand self-hatred as currency to buy back my favor. I just need you to trust that my love is vast enough to invade the wreckage you think is untouchable. Pry your white-knuckled fingers off that heavy weight, not to run wild, but so you can let me be who I actually am to you. The healer, the restorer, not the prosecutor pointing a finger. I see you choking as you drag the dead weight of your past behind you. So why will you not let me cut the noose tightening around your neck? Why hold on to it like it is your only inheritance? Just stop for 1 second. Breathe. Not as a hollow trick, but as proof that your heart is still beating, that you still have time to turn around. I am right here, closer than you think. Just one turn of the shoulder, one honest whisper, one deep breath where you finally stop trying to save yourself. With that exhale, you let go the lies you use to condemn yourself. Dropping the weight leaves your hands open, to catch the peace I carved out for you. Not a cheap feeling that everything is flawless, but a bone-deep quiet in the middle of the mess, knowing that I hold the reins, not your ghosts and not your tomorrow. Let me step into the wreckage and rebuild. Let me sweep the dark corners you are too terrified to open. I did not come to drag out your rap sheet and lecture you. I came to burn the file with a stamp of mercy. I do not pretend it did not happen, but I wash your heart clean with love. I am scrubbing the grit that has caked onto your soul for years, not to pretend you never fell, but so you can stand tall without shaking under the weight of shame. Look at how broken you have been only so you can feel the true weight of my strength. Stop trying to hide or paint over the cracks or lie about your yesterday. Just drop the weight in my hands and let me handle the rest of it. You panic that everything you built is gone forever, that the open doors that shut will never swing open again, that what you broke is beyond fixing. But listen to me. The life I have written for you cannot be stolen by any force on earth, not even your own frailty. I let you lose what was never yours, but what belongs to your destiny in my plan. I am still holding, still protecting in a vault no devil can touch. Even when you are not ready to handle it, I am right here waiting. I am watching you grow and learn, so when the moment comes, you will hold onto it forever. What I have promised you is safe. It will not fade. It is just resting in the dark, waiting. I do not dangle promises in front of your face just to watch you struggle. I have built a perfect timeline. Heaven knows its rhythm, even when you only feel the agonizing weight of the weight. One day, you will look back and understand those unanswered prayers. It was never because I shut my ears to your cry, but because I was forging something deeper in your soul. Not a cheap comfort, but a real, unbreakable foundation of steel. I am not interested in giving you temporary highs that leave you completely lost and empty when they fade away. Your soul matters more to me than quick fixes. You want the pain to stop, but I want you to survive it and stand tall, knowing who I am, who you are, and what grace really costs. You want a clean, effortless path, but I am writing a story that will actually heal broken lives. So I will not rush to turn the page on your pain while it is still shaping something deep inside you. When my plans for you are finally laid bare, you will never call it luck or a random twist of fate. You will see my hands in every detail, every face you met, every open door, and every detour that made no sense back then will suddenly connect. You will remember those brutal nights when you thought everything was gone. And looking at where you are now, you will finally see the truth. Without those dark chapters you desperately wanted to burn, you would not have the strength to stand here today. Then you will look back to this exact second, hearing these words, and you will know it was always me speaking directly to you, not some fleeting thought. You will remember that when things hit rock bottom and felt completely hopeless, I was already weaving the next chapter, quiet, steady, and unstoppable, and that through the fire, I never once let go of your hand. So, do not tell yourself your time has run out. Do not lock your heart away just to dodge the pain. I will not promise you a life without tears, but I promise you that not a single tear will go to waste. I promise to take your absolute worst mistakes, the hidden chapters you hope nobody ever finds out, and forge them into a spark for real change, bringing a fierce new hope, not just for you, but for everyone around you. As Romans 8:28 promises, I make all things work together for good, not the regrets that keep you up, the failures that burn, or the dark secrets you are too terrified to whisper. It all becomes fuel for a beauty you cannot even fathom yet. Just keep showing up. As long as you dare to reach out to me, I will keep writing, keep sculpting, and keeping you on your feet until your life finally reflects what I envisioned from the very beginning. Now quiet your mind. Strip away the walls and speak to me with raw, unfiltered honesty. God, my Father, you see right through me, down into the rawest parts of my soul. And today, I bring you all my heavy, broken pieces. I have misread your silence so many times. I thought you walked away. I thought my prayers hit a brick wall, and that you simply did not care anymore. Forgive me for judging your character based on the fleeting, chaotic mess of my own emotions. Heal the scars left by people who walked out on me, so I stop expecting you to abandon me too. Help me see that when the world is completely silent, your love is still moving, holding me together in ways I cannot fathom. Give me real, grit-tested faith to trust your character when I cannot make sense of your plan. Teach me to sink into your peace instead of fighting a war inside my own head. You are a good Father, holding every chapter of my life. I hand over all my panic about time, about getting older, and about every missed opportunity. I catch myself looking around at everyone else, comparing, feeling like I am always losing the race, asking why they run so fast, while I am stuck crawling. I am sorry for letting envy poison my peace. Remind me that you are never, ever late, that the years I think were wasted are actually the quiet fires refining my soul, to push my roots deeper, to soften my calloused heart. Set me free from this endless, draining race against everyone else. Teach me to cherish each quiet step in your peace. If this comforted you, subscribe to help us build our faith community together. All the quiet progress that only you and I can see. Keep reminding me, Lord, I am not running behind your schedule. I am right where I need to be, following the path you drew before I was even born. Holy Spirit, I hand over the courtrooms I have built, deep inside my own chest over the years. Honestly, I have been my own worst enemy, prosecuting myself harsher than anyone else ever could, replaying those thoughts that tear me down, locking myself in a cage built of old mistakes I cannot go back and change. I forgot that I am just clay, and you are the potter slowly molding me back together. Holy Spirit, breathe on me. Touch the quiet broken places I try so hard to hide. Help me drop the weapon of my own self-judgment. Show me how to trust you, to heal me, and shape my life your way. Help me believe that I am not some broken, useless thing, but a masterpiece still in the making. What is cracked and broken is not meant for the trash. It is meant to be put back together, stronger and more beautiful. Give me the strength to stop pretending I am strong, to admit I am weak and need your help. Let the loudest sound in my soul be your grace, not the ghosts of my past, but your quiet whisper reminding me that you are still crafting my life. Father, thank you for helping me look back at the years I thought were wasted and see them differently. You did not yell at me when I complained my life was moving too slow, that I was falling behind, or that everyone else was leaving me in the dust. You rewrote how I look at time, showing me that you were working in the background on those days I thought were a total waste. Thank you that every single tear, every long wait, and every roadblock only pushed my roots deeper into your faith. You used them to soften my rough edges and break down the pride I did not even know I had. Thank you for not forcing me to hustle or rush for this world's version of success, but letting me walk at a pace that keeps my soul safe. Thank you that every single season has a purpose. Today I can finally make peace with everything that lies behind me, because I know you never let go of my life. Jesus, I lay my grateful heart at your feet for patiently tearing down the wrong ideas I had, about who you really are. Thank you for never getting tired of reminding me that you came to save, not destroy, to heal, not to extinguish, to defend, not to break me. Thank you for showing me that what I called unfair was actually you pulling me back from the edge of a cliff, and what I grieved as a loss was just your hand redirecting my path. You met me in my pain without a single word of lecture. You just reached down and pulled me up when I was down. Thank you for letting me ask hard questions and for holding space for my anger and my grief without ever walking away. I know that if you had not stayed by my side, those dark doubts would have dragged me miles away from home. I pray this in the powerful name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If this spoke to you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's build a real supportive community of faith. I know the heavy weight you carry when the lights go out and the silence gets too loud. I see you staring at those unpaid bills, feeling completely alone and drowning in your own doubts. But hear me now. I have not abandoned you to fight these quiet battles by yourself. Remember my promise. Do not fear, for I am with you, and I will strengthen and help you. I am breathing peace into your exhausted soul, rebuilding your broken pieces right here in the dark. This storm is fierce, but your story does not end in the wreckage. I am still in control. If you felt this comfort, subscribe and like this video to help us build this online family of faith.